For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kinsey Bennett, and I've known the bride and the groom for a very, very long time. Morgan and I were freshmen when Michael was a senior, and one Saturday night, Morgan and I were driving around our small town with nothing to do, so Morgan decided to call her good friend Michael. We decided to meet up at the local McDonald's. Sparks are flying between the two. But I'll never forget, Morgan looked at me and she said, "You know, the woman that ends up with that guy is going to be happy for the rest of her life." And so I looked at Morgan and I'm like, "That's you. You and him are such great friends. Like, why don't you do that?"
I will never stop loving you.
Are you ready for me to Love you. Love you. You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, you showed me how it felt looking down. It's okay to fall.
So one day, I'm, as 14-year-olds do, having a meltdown in my room. And where is my little sister? In my room. She never leaves. And after I finish having the meltdown, she just looks up at me with her adorable Cindy Lou face. And she says, "Wow, when you're really angry, you look just like Squidward from SpongeBob." But the other thing that adults don't tell you about getting a little sister is that if you're lucky enough to have one like Morgan, you get a best friend for life, and you don't want her to leave your room when you're having a meltdown.
Friends, love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. These rings are an outward and visible sign of an inward and spiritual grace. And today they signify the uniting of Michael and Morgan in holy marriage. They are a perfect circle with no end, just as the love that God has for each of us has no end. As Morgan and Michael give these gifts to each other, they declare their unending love for each other. Now that Morgan and Michael have given themselves to each other by solemn vows, with the joining of hands and the giving and receiving of rings, I announce to you that they are husband and wife, in the name of the Father and Son and Holy Spirit. Those whom God has joined together, let no one put asunder. Friends, it's my privilege to introduce to you for the very first time Mr. and Mrs. Michael and Morgan Wilson. I know you'll want to greet them with enthusiasm.
Fast forward all these years later, and it turns out that Morgan was right all along. The girl that's ending up with Michael is going to be happy for the rest of her life.
Morgan, since I've known Michael, you have been the greatest thing that has happened to him. You have been loving and supporting of him, and it was no surprise to me when he pulled me aside one night and said, "I'm going to marry her."
Cheers to those two high school kids who I pray never stop laughing together.
I wish you a lifetime of happiness. Let's raise a glass to Michael and Morgan.
So raise a glass to Morgan and Michael.